different education. More like let the children be creative, let them fantasize, let them be children.
These are Montessori kindergartens. The Koenigshoeven Foundation in Holland is for about 10 years, and we're supporting 2 kindergarten here in Dimmoken. I'm responsible for the projects in South Omo in Ethiopia, and especially for these 2 kindergartens. There are so many children. I think about 98 children, and there's only 1 classroom. So I think there are about 50 children now in 1 classroom, and the others have to be taught outside. So there must be 2 classrooms extra.
Education is, the sweet bean for everybody, I think. So a lot of things, yeah. Education is not only in the school, or not only you get from the school, from around of your place, you get education from a people which they are giving you good idea. So you get education from them. So it's not only what you are learning in the school.
If they develop a logical thinking and know how to use what they have been learning from a book in real life, then you will see the difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They can read in the book when you put the empty batteries in the ground, you poison the ground, but still everybody will do it.
Yeah.
Because what they read in a book, they don't use it in real life.
And how do you test that? That's kind of my question.
And that will be done with open questions. So you can measure their way of thinking and not A, B, C, D. We are not going to use books. We're only going to do practical training. You can learn English from a book, but if you don't practice, you don't have any interaction. How do you know? How can you have a conversation with anybody if you don't know how to pronounce the words? Only from reading. That's why we built the school.
The organization is called the Owasso Youth Campus. What we tried to do is just make a place for kids to go and be able to pick up a pen, a book, an instrument, or anything like that, and just become involved in something constructive, so they can grow as individuals and as a community together. Is community something that can be built? And if so, with what? Communities are really, people have yet to, it's not tangible. You can't put your hands on community, and you can't really quantify it, but it exists everywhere, right? So how do you build community? With resources or centers or something like that, but those are kind of, they make a microcosm of community, not to the greater thing. So like here, I would say in Ethiopia, community exists. Naturally, because it has to exist. In a place where there's less, community has to exist in order to survive.
Education is very important for people here to develop their country. There are many people who are not well educated, and if you think about the future, people need to have an education.
So they needed all these kids because someone had to carry the water, someone had to carry the firewood, someone had to go and get the food. They couldn't just send their kids to school because who then would carry the water and the firewood?
You guys probably have seen it 100 times. There's a sign out there put up by some foreigner that says, children should go to schools, not work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a really ideal concept, isn't it?
It is. But
that means alternatives.
Yeah.
I've been working for the JRDC school, which is Jamaican Rastafarian Development Community School. And I've been there teaching some art skills for them, for some grades 5, 6, and writing and reasoning. This is a new subject I introduced for the school for grades 7 and 8. To reason about life, why we do things, why we learn in the first place, why we live, basic things that many actually in the West particular don't actually think, you know, why we are here.
When I listen to myself even, living here for a couple of years, I still approach it from a very Western
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, that is also something we have to turn around. We should ask them questions. What do you want? Because we in Europe or maybe in America, we find water, clean drinking water, very important, while they ask for a DSTV television to watch the World Cup next year. No, they want entertainment. They
Mobile
want
phone.
something to do.
Television.
When you have nothing to do, there's nothing to motivate you, because there's no way you can spend your extra money anyway. Then food.
And that's what you see happening now in Gorgora, because all the youngsters, they leave because there's no entertainment. They go to school, after they finish there's no work, there's no entertainment, so they don't have any motivation to stay. And then you only have children and older people.
You know, with so much energy we have to do something, you know, in the life. And many times youths especially, they do something, they take drugs or smoke or even violent, you know. But if they have music or art or anything, theater, there's different ways you can do any kind of creative activity, gets the prana, you know, flowing. You get everything out system. So trying to encourage that different arts, teaching them manga and comics and you know, more consciousness and more fun things to see the world differently.
This is done all by the students.
The arts is can be an incredibly productive and constructive tool for development. It's universal. It's a universal communicator. It's a universal language of sorts, and I think in a lot of cases we use the arts really well.
So what has basically changed in education? Because everybody can get free education, but what's the level of the education?
We do theater and music and art, and reading.
I'm looking some philosophies and Sufi poetry and some Rasta ideology.
Other things that are considered normal and where I'm from, or in the developed world, I suppose.
Because diversity is a blessing, a necessary thing.
So education is more important, more, not for me, for everybody, for every purpose in the world.